A player in a stance that, and every player is different, and the number one thing you want to make sure is that a player is comfortable in his stance. Now sometimes he might think he's comfortable. In reality, he doesn't have very much chance for success. This guy's in a basic run stance, okay? You want to have your near hand down to whichever player you're attacking. You'd like to have that same foot back, as you can see, and a slight stagger of your back foot with your up foot, because you do not, when you take your first step, you really want to take just about a 6 inch, no more than 6 inches, power step straight ahead, okay? So you want to make sure your rear end is about a little bit higher than your back here, your shoulders. This drill is called shoot the hands, and as it says, we're trying to shoot our hands as quickly and as accurately as possible. This drill, like so many drills, is specific about his hand speed and his hand placement. Hand speed, meaning how quickly can I bring my hand from the ground, and this one is cocked, and hand placement, how accurate are my hands. Every time a player does this drill, he should hold the position, get the feeling of his pads out and his hips back. He wants to critique his hands. Are his hands together? Are his thumbs up? Is there any cloth or daylight in between his hands? If so, he needs to replace his hands and make sure they are inside. Another thing you would like to critique here is his arms and how are they locked out. So before he releases this post, he should critique his hand placement and are his arms locked out. And notice that this drill is being done on his knees, where he's not thinking about a step. He's not thinking about anything but his hands, so he can be more specific. You can see a little bit different angle of the player doing the shoot the hands drill, okay? You can see again by critiquing, if his thumbs are up, chances are his elbows will be inside and he's got more power. If his thumbs are down, his elbows will probably be out. And if you're gonna push a car that was stalled, you'd probably want to get your thumbs up and your elbows tight to get maximum strength. You would not want to chicken wing or have your arms, elbows outside. His thumbs are up, his hands are together, and his arms are locked out. Okay, this is what we want. This drill is called strike launch. Now, we're now getting in a stance, okay, but we're not taking any steps, all right? All I'm trying to get out of this drill is to get players getting the idea of coming out of their stance and closing the neutral zone, the zone between the defender and the offensive player. Who can close this neutral zone, this space, the mostly and the most violently? He's still going to deliver a blow now with what I call the triangle. His hands are the bottom part of the triangle, and his eyes are the top part of the triangle. Whenever he's ready, what he's going to do is come off with a flat back, and what I call flat back and hat speed. Hat meaning your helmet. How quickly can you get your helmet through the neutral zone and close that space? You're trying to get players to come out of their stances and understand that a violent get-off is probably more important than anything else they're going to do. They've got to get out of their stance. If their feet look like they're nailed to the ground, it's no good. If they look like toothpaste coming out of a toothpaste dispenser, it's not any good. You don't want guys oozing off the ball. You want people attacking. Now this player here is holding a hand shield, and he wants to hold it about eye level, all right, where his face and his hands are hitting the shield. You want to lead with your face and hands. I use the analogy of a snake coiled up. His face and his hands are like his fangs, and he's striking with his fangs. He is literally leaving his tail behind and laying out. This guy will give ground on contact. If he doesn't, he might get hurt, or this guy might get hurt, okay? He's going to get back up in his stance, and you notice the first time I think he was in a right-handed stance. Now he's in a left-handed stance. You want your players to be able to play in both stances, all right? Whenever he's ready, he's going to go flat back and hat speed, just to get used to coming out of his stance. He's not taking any kind of step here. He is just laying out. The name of this drill, as you can see, is first step roach. You might be wondering what that means. All right, first step roach. All we're trying to get players to understand is you do more damage than good with a long step. You only have so much time. You're not that far away from the guy you're going against. He's taking a step forward. You're taking a step forward. You want to make sure your feet are in the ground on contact. And if there was like a cockroach right there, all you're trying to do is squash him right there. Not stomp him, but keep your cleats in the ground and just move no more than 4 to 5 inches, which basically makes your stance now parallel. So when you're engaging the blocker, just like you do if you were moving a box or lifting a weight, you'd want your feet with a good base where you've got the best chance to have full strength. The next drill we're doing here is what I call first step fit. Now he's in a stance, and he's still going to take that roach step, and he's going to incorporate several drills you've already seen. I mean, the last drill he did where he took the roach step as well as his face and hands. All right? He wants his face and hands to hit simultaneously. This player has a bag. This player is bracing him. He's not trying to lock out. He's just trying to hold a fit and get the feel, and this is an exaggeration, obviously, of playing low with a flat back. You should be able to eat off a guy's back when he makes contact with a base block. Okay? You should be able to eat off his back. He wants his elbows tight. He wants his eyes up. You don't ever want to hit with the top of your head, as you well know. Never hit with the top of your head. Hit with your eyes and your hands. I think that we're going to try to do this now over in a post now and show the exact same thing. As you can see here, he's hardly taking any kind of step. But what he's trying to get the feel for, and obviously you're not going to be that close to an offensive player. By the time he comes off the ball, they're both closing daylight. He wants that good fit. His eyes into the bag, his hands inside, his elbows tight. If your elbows are tight, odds are your hands will be inside. You don't want to ever have guys get the bad habit of getting the outside of these bags with their hands, because all that does is encourage them to play with their hands outside, and they're going to lose. Notice how flat his back is, how balanced his stance is. He's got maximum use of his strength now, okay? So now the next thing he's going to do is just come out of this and basically separate. That's not the purpose of this drill right here, is separation. Here, we've taken a little bit of every drill and have incorporated it. You've seen us strike launch where we're trying to get our hat through the neutral zone. You've seen us take a roach step and a fit. Well, now it's time to try to put it all together on this post. Taking a short first step, face and hands, locking out, and getting a feeling of leverage here, okay, of locking out. Now, let's go through this again. Again, his first step, he comes off, he's got a flat back, his hands are pretty good inside. If you do a great job of hitting the offensive player and your hands are a little bit outside, it buys you time to replace your hands and get them inside. So here I would encourage this guy to totally close all that daylight where you can't see any red between his hands. You want to bend your knees and drop your butt, lock your arms totally out. Just a different view of the same drill. Hips back, pads out, good feeling of leverage. Okay? Strength is important, but you cannot play this game face to face, chest to chest, okay, groin to groin. All right? You've got no leverage there. You've got to get your hips back and get leverage. This is leverage right here. That's a good angle right there. Good angle. This is taking it a little bit further now. We attacked a post that wasn't moving. And a lot of guys like to use a lot of apparatus that doesn't move. I like to use stuff that's moving because bags generally don't fight back, okay? Oftentimes I say down the hash. As you can see, this is not a hash, but because of filming this, this is the best angle I could get. He's basically going down the yard line here. He's got his crotch right in the middle of this yard line, and when this guy flinches, the coach will basically say ready. Anytime after the coach says ready, this player on his own is going to try to reach this guy. I've got to be quicker than he is, lower than he is, and have better hand placement than he is. My get off of my hands have got to be more violent than his is. Now you can see right here, his first steps on the line. He's not real bad, okay? He's basically square. You can see him leading with his hands. I talked about his hands and his face being his fangs if he was a snake. Striking. You want to have a goal line mentality just about every time you play an offensive team. Some formations you wouldn't want to have a goal line mentality because you'd run yourself out of plays and hurt yourself. But most offensive plays that are lining up in the I formation or heavy sets, You want to have a goal line mentality. I don't want to defend anything. I don't want to react to him. I want to attack and then react. That's what I want to do. This is a great job with his hands. He's relatively square and going down the line, but you can see his first step was not straight, okay? It stepped a little bit to the outside, all right? But it's still a pretty good job. Steering drill. And as it says, we are putting a defender or a defensive end in a predetermined reached position. He has been reached by the offensive player, all right? Now, I've always believed it's not a cardinal sin to get reached. It's a cardinal sin to get knocked off the ball. I'll say ready. Anytime after I say ready, this man will start the drill. As soon as he feels pressure, he's got to start fighting it. Again, I think you can see even some of the things we've already discussed about hand placement, about our hips being back, our pads being out. Get your feet working in your hips. He's trying to get back at least to a head-up position, square it up, where when the back makes his move, either there or there, he's got a chance to make a play right there. Notice his hips. If your hips are out in the hole, you're going to be in great position, okay? I'd like to see him push a lot more and pull with that arm and get this man's shoulders turned to the sideline. He wants to do the same thing to you. He wants to turn your shoulders, okay? It's very important that you stay square here. Very important. Now, if this guy's a very good player and you're a very good player, this drill will probably stay right down this line. The better he is, the more this guy is going to be coming at an angle like that in the backfield, or vice versa.